We're on a mission. We're going to find and uncover the smartest, most successful entrepreneurs on the planet, explore their highs, their lows, and how they ultimately mastered the game. I'm Martin Cook, and I'm excited to welcome you to the Smarter Destiny podcast. I'm grateful for you and your time. Now let's level up together. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to another Smarter Destiny podcast, where today I've got my friend Ashwin Sokke on the live today for this interview, and we were just discussing all the different ways that we can pronounce his name, so hopefully I've got one of those there. Ashwin and I have some tremendously awesome mutual friends, but haven't really connected previously on business and so on, and so we're taking this opportunity today to learn Ashwin's story and how he became the founder of Wow Skin Science, one of the fastest growing e-commerce stores in India and indeed in the world, with tremendous success. And so this guy, I feel like it's going to be a bit like an onion episode. We're going to peel back the layers and keep uncovering things, but I'm excited to get into the strategy for selling in India, the strategy for selling worldwide, and how his brand became one of the forefront runners of a very competitive industry. So without further ado, Ashwin, how are you?
Doing well, my friend. Early morning here in LA, but all good. Excited for our interview this morning.
Likewise.
I know we canceled a couple of times. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully we can get it done the way you want today.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for this one. And those of you who are listening who aren't watching, I should say, you should definitely consider watching, because Ashwin's got this really cool blur effect on his camera right now. So he's like in permanent portrait mode.
It's kind of like I don't know. Is it the Skype setting? I think so.
I mean, it's a good look. It looks like you're moving really fast.
I can take it out.
Oh, okay. We've got options now.
We've got reflection.
Whichever you prefer.
Okay.
And so how regular listeners will know this, but how we generally proceed on these interviews is we go back to a point of interest in your past, where it seems like a really good sort of starting point for your entrepreneurial journey that's brought you up until today's date, right, and what you're working on today. And so we discussed this a little bit off air, but do you have a time in mind for a logical starting point for Ashwin's entrepreneurial journey, and if so, when are we, where are we, and what's going on?
Yeah, I would think we would have to go back probably 10 years. I think it was the Wild West back then. We were all affiliates, and we were in the world of, we were working with some of the big affiliate networks, selling of supplements, skincare products. I mean, everything that you could sell online, right? These were probably the early days of Facebook, so just about taking off. So things were a lot, MySpace was still around, Google AdWords and display ads were big. And we would work with different ad networks and affiliate networks and make a buck or two, right? But with that came extreme competition, saturation of anything that is launched, because everyone would get on board and things would scale up and scale down tremendously within a matter of 3-4 months, right? If someone started selling one type of product, every other affiliate out there or network out there would want that offer or start selling it. So there would be a downturn within 3-4 months and so on. So I think around end of 2011 is when I realized, like, you want to build something long term, So when I started looking at the market in general, US appeared saturated. Everyone was doing what everyone was doing, which is basically copying each other. And I was of the opinion maybe I should try something in India. So I went back to India for a few months, probably 6 to 8 months, and tried putting up an e-commerce firm. Just like I wanted to be, use my knowledge in the e-commerce industry to see if I can come up with something for an alternative to, Amazon in India, but Amazon had not made its entry. There were other smaller players in India who were doing well. Um, but we realized soon that, you need a lot of capital to be in the traditional e-commerce business. I mean, margins are really small, 3 to 4%. But you have to invest probably hundreds of millions to be able to support the logistics side and the back end infrastructure to run an e-commerce firm for a country like India. There's almost 1.3 billion people, right? So it takes a lot. And, some of these companies like the Flipkarts of the world and Flipkart.com, Amazon, Snapdeal, all the big players in India have raised probably billions, not hundreds of millions, but billions over the last decade to be able to build that. And that's how long it's going to take for them to become the players in the e-commerce industry, right? Unlike the US, where Amazon's number one, which probably controls 80, 90% of e-com, and then the rest are all bid players. India actually has 2, 3 serious players depending on the niche. And of course, there's Amazon.in and Flipkart.com, who are the big players. And, there are a couple of other players in other micro categories. But so we realized, hey, let's get out of this game. And, my business partners, who were two of my high school friends and my older brother, by the way, they were like, Ash, like, why don't we take your knowledge in selling supplements online and see if we can try it in India? We weren't sure, right? So they were pretty convincing in terms of like, a lot of us, we are buying a lot of products because online, simply because we are not able to get, unlike India, unlike the US or the West, where there's Walmarts and retail is really organized in the West, right? India doesn't have that. So people tend to get variety online because you can list hundreds of products, drop ship it, outsource it, and ship it to a consumer. So people were opening up to the idea that they can find interesting products to buy online, right? So having said that, so we were like, okay, let's order one product and see how it does, right? So we were like, Nick, okay, what will be the brand name? And back then, a lot of us just use Skype too, and I would say the word wow a lot. Like, wow this, wow that. So we're like, okay, wowproductname.com, is it available? Wowsupplement.com, was it available? And it was, and we took that domain, and that's how Wow was formed. I mean, we didn't know it was going to be this successful, right? We just went with it, and over the time, what it means is we wanted to, see if we can make a market in the Indian market, which was a fast-growing market. So, basically it means world of wellness, right?
Okay.
WOW. Yeah.
Okay. So I love that. So let's go back. So you had you just moved to the US, or have you always been based in the US at the beginning of this 10-year journey?
I had just moved to the US. I finished my engineering in India, went to the Philippines for a few years. I would say 3.5, 4 years. We were working in the call center industry there, and that's how we got introduced to the whole affiliate marketing space. And a lot of our clients were in the space, which is online advertising, ad networks. We would do their back end for them. So customer support, SEO, web design. So that's how we were introduced to the whole space. And then we were like, okay.
So you were well positioned there to see kind of some of the problems and issues and challenges and sales and opportunities that are being listed. And so whereabouts in India are you from?
Bangalore, which is in South India. It's called Bengaluru now, but it's in South India, state of Karnataka. And for a long time, it was called the Silicon Valley of Asia, right? I mean, it has a lot of good tech talent there, just like myself. Not that I've written a line of code, since I've passed out of college, but I'm pretty good at architecting code, but I don't write it myself. So I passed out of engineering, then went to the Philippines, then to the US for few years, and then for a year, I mean, less than a year in India, and then back to the US, right? So while I was there, we started, you know, going back and forth with ideas, and we started the supplements. We ordered 5,000 bottles. We sold it out within 7 days. So we're like, damn, I mean, there's traction there, right? People are buying stuff online. They're willing to trust a new brand, which is selling on our own website. We were not selling it on marketplaces. We were selling it on our own website. And people trusted a new brand name with our communication style, right? I mean, the way you communicate to consumers online. So we took that. Okay, let's launch another product under the same brand. Launch another product. So we had three products doing really well, and we were buying pretty good amount of media buying on in with native networks, with Facebook, with Google back in those days, 5 years ago, 2014, doing well, right? And then the whole idea of e-commerce really took off in India. Amazon committed a 5 billion investment. Flipkart raised billions of dollars, and you would see TV ads for e-commerce companies everywhere, like on TV, like literally. So we took that and we were doing our thing, right? We were just selling through our own store. We were handling our own shipping, but supposedly some of our consumers, I mean, potential consumers who wanted to buy our product, just like the discovery phase, right? You would go research on Google. People were going and researching our products on Amazon. They would go search, Wow's product name, can you buy it? But we are not listed there. So Amazon tried contacting us, getting in touch with us because they wanted sellers to onboard products, right? Just when Amazon enters a new market, they want sellers to have products because the advantage of Amazon or any e-commerce marketplace is to have millions of items where consumers can go purchase whatever they want. We were not listed there, and for a long time we are hesitant to list that. But eventually they convinced us. We talked to the Amazon team, and they gave us the advantages, the pros and cons of listing on Amazon, where we would pick up additional consumers just because of the trust factor they have with the Amazon delivery, customer service, and so on. So we listed our product, started doing well right away. And right from the beginning, we were of the opinion of, customer first. Customer experience is priority number one as a company, and as business partners. Some of those nightmares we had in the previous businesses, we knew how things can go wrong. So with this business, right from the foundation, our number one goal was customer experience and customer satisfaction. So when we listed on Amazon, some of the basics were not being done by other brands, I suppose, but we were really good with responding to customers, respond fast, offer refunds. Not all customers are happy with your product. If they're not happy, why would you deny that customer a refund wherein you actually keep the customer's trust and he in the future might buy one of your other products? Make it easy. And that policy is implemented by all the worldwide brands for a reason, because of course, you'll always have bad apples there, but you give the benefit of the doubt to the customer. So we're liberal with those analogies. Customers, and we took customer communication seriously. We took their feedback seriously. We fixed issues. We fixed, product issues, packaging issues. So we did that well, and Amazon loved working with us. And they were like, guys, you need to get into other categories. So we were like, what categories? Okay, skincare is the natural progression. So we got into skincare, launched a few skincare products. They started doing really well. And like I said, back in those days, I used to love working out, and, probably worked out 6, 7 days, 6, 7 times per week. And, I was really into fitness. So I would take a shot of apple cider vinegar every day, and no one was taking the shot of apple cider vinegar. No one was selling like an Indian version of wholesome, with the mother, completely natural apple cider vinegar in India, at least online, right? So I looked, and on all the marketplaces online, it was one of the imported brands from the US, and with the import duties, it was not reasonably priced, which means most people in India couldn't afford it. So we started looking for an apple cider vinegar maker in India, and we eventually found one by the Himalayan foothills up in North India. And he's like, okay, do you make apple cider vinegar? He's like, yeah, I do. And so we took some of that and, marketed under Wow. And, it was all, I made sure the product's great, right? We tested it and, made sure, okay, it's great quality. Of course, it's Himalayan apples, Himalayan water. All this makes a difference, by the way. So we listed it and became the number one health supplement on Amazon because, suddenly, apple cider vinegar has a lot of benefits, obviously, like we all know. And we started listening to customers, right? And it's selling, and we started hearing from the customers. I mean, I knew apple cider vinegar is a great health supplement and it's great for your skin, right? Like as a toner for acne and so on and so forth. But I didn't know you could use it for your hair. Like I seriously didn't know. None of my partners did either. But we started listening to customers who start telling us we rinse our hair and we use our apple cider vinegar on our hair and it works really well and so on. So, like, damn, there's an angle to it. If it's one or two customers, you wouldn't take it seriously. But if a lot of customers start telling you that fact and you start taking it seriously, because for us, in our company's DNA, we take customer feedback like it's the gospel truth, or we give it that serious look. So, like, okay, there's something to it. And we started researching, like, oh, there are hundreds of benefits of apple cider vinegar, and some of those are amazing benefits for your hair and scalp. Hair is such an interesting, it's basically dead skin, if you really consider it. Hair is basically dead skin, scientifically, right? And it's all dependent on your scalp, right? So we said, okay, we are going to make a hair care product. So how are we going to differentiate ourselves from the hundreds of other hair care products being sold in India? Oh, okay. And back then, about 3.5 years ago, when we first started taking this seriously, we were like, okay, how do we, shampoos being sold for $1 to anywhere $5. That's the range. Products were being sold, maybe $8 too, but hundreds of options. Why will the customer suddenly drop all those options? Some of them were decent options to consider a new brand which has just got into hair care. Like, why should a customer in India do that? So we started noticing, at least in the US, the whole idea of, chemical-free hair care lines was just taking off. So sulfate-free, paraben-free, silicone-free, generally chemical-free hair care products and skincare products were just taking off, like in the US as an idea. So we are like, okay, there we go. We have a hero ingredient and we have the USPs of being chemical free. So that's an angle that we can take and, actually make a differentiating prospect for the customer to consider. Hey, okay, I don't want dishwashing detergent on my head, on my skin. So I'll take these better options, which might be a little premium price, but seems like they know what they're talking in terms of their communication. This new brand, let me try. So it took us a while, but I would say 5-6 months to get the product right. The ACV is acidic, so just the right amount, and getting the fragrance right for hair care, which is important. So we did that, launched it on the marketplace and our own store, and straight away within 20 days, it became, I think, the number one selling shampoo on Amazon. Like, climbed up the rankings, and of course, the product was great itself. So got a lot of what do you call virality. So it just spread like wildfire and became a cult favorite, right? So, and then we were like, okay, that was 30 months ago, and it still is the number one selling shampoo on Amazon India for 30 months straight. So,
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So we took that and then we made a conditioner, and then eventually made hair oils and hairspray and other types of shampoos, like other ingredients and different hair types and color protection and, curly hair, dandruff stuff, and so on. So eventually we got into essential oils, hundreds of other skincare products. Uh, so we have over 150 SKUs now. We took some of that success, and eventually, since I had continued to live in the US, we said, okay, let's try some of this. So about 2 years ago, we started testing some of our products in the US market through our own store and eventually Amazon. And I mean, we were surprised, but blessed that, the success has translated. In fact, our shampoo and conditioner is actually the number one selling shampoo and conditioner even on Amazon USA for the past 6 months, I would say. Uh, we've sold to over 500,000 consumers in the US alone over the last 12 months. So we've, done really well. Uh, and we continue to innovate, and we invest a lot in, ingredient research and product research, packaging research. Some of my business partners, Manish and Karan and Arvind, uh, actually go to conventions and shows, not for sales shows, right? Sales is the easy shows. All of us are used to going to sales conventions. No, we actually do go to product conventions, ingredient conventions. We travel all over the world just to figure out better packaging, eco-certified packaging, better fragrances, better ingredients. What's the latest in terms of ingredient research, right? So we are always try to stay ahead of the curve and improve ourselves and improve our product lines as a company. Even in terms of customer support, how can we make our customer support better? How can we make it easier for customers to get in touch with us? Like in India, right? We have a multilingual customer support. Most of our customer support agents can speak 3, 4 Indian languages because India is a complicated country. Yes, English is uh, a common language, but not the preferred language in most states. If you leave out the big four metro cities, most people prefer talking in their own local language. So we have probably, 30 plus different languages in India that with different dialects and accents. So you need to be able to communicate with the consumer where he's comfortable enough to address his requests or issues with you, and you should be able to understand and respond back in kind. So we focus on customer experience, and that's, I would say, is our number one USP. And we continue to invest into customer support, infrastructure, into warehousing and logistics in India and in the US. Of course, standard 1 day to 2 day delivery because of Amazon and the Walmarts of the world. It's becoming a preferred request for most consumers around the world. So we exist in the US and India, so we continue to improve ourselves in those areas. But we hope to be by the end of second quarter of next year in Europe and Canada also, including the UK. So hopefully you can see the WOW products where you are. Um, that's the story so far. Uh, we are very good at keeping our foot on the ground and head on our shoulders, and focusing on the idea that there's something new to learn every day, staying humble. And I mean, we see, just like me and you see in our own industry, right? Like we see new ways of media buying every month. Nothing's a constant. There's always so much room to improve. So I wake up every day with that attitude of, hey, I need to learn something new today, and, work, learn something new from my colleagues or my business partners or my team members, and, pass on the knowledge that I have to them and share knowledge. And that's how it gets better, right? When you share knowledge with your own team members.
I love that. What an incredible story. And so So I'm going back. So it sounds like a real magical piece of that puzzle was that Himalayan cider apple vinegar producer, which became that magic ingredient in a lot of those early products. And so, do you still manufacture all of your products in India to avoid that import duty, or?
No, there's no import duty as of today. But yes, to keep the consistency of the product, we have the capacity as of now to probably 5x our production and still be completely sufficient to be able to manufacture all of it in India. So that's what we're continuing to do so that our product consistency is the same for people around the world, not just in India. But yes, we get about 10 to 12 containers a month from India to the US, both, to the East Coast and West Coast. And yeah, it's the same consistent product. So no one has to feel that, we will ever compromise on the quality of our ingredients because, let's just start making it in the US now with the manufacturer here, just give them the formula, which tends to happen a lot in our industry. But that's the other thing I probably missed. We make everything from scratch. We don't take a product off the shelf. Like I won't go to a manufacturer and say, hey, you have the skincare product? Okay, I'll just put a label on that bottle of yours. No, we make everything from scratch, right from the bottles. We own our molds, the caps, the pumps, everything's custom. So we actually take that route that, hey, customers paying me for, she or he thinks that our product is a genuine product and they're paying me that premium price for my effort of taking that time to make a world-class product on my own, not a copycat. So we have invested in a factory, in a partnership, and it continues to grow. We've added additional lots of capacity in the last 12 months to be able to scale the production. And we'll probably, like I said, continue to produce all of our products in India because it has I think it matches on and it continues to, support us with, scaling, right? We don't have to, when it comes to production, there's something called minimum order quantities when you work with third-party suppliers. But with us, we are able to, because we have the India and the US market, we're able to produce, 10,000 bottles and say, hey, India, you sell 5, I'll sell 5 on the first batch and see if it works out. And then we'll order 20 and then India takes 10 and, US takes 10 and so on and so forth. So that's how we've continued to, innovate and grow as a company and the brand.
That's absolutely incredible, and I can see that, and taking that extra effort, it's clear that the extra effort, the attention to detail, that's paying off, right? Like that, that has paid off already. That like you said, there's so many people out there that will just take a white label product, slap a label on it, and then sort of rely on branding and exaggerative marketing to try and sell more than the competitors selling the same thing. And obviously you're on you're at a race to the bottom, right? With that.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely incredible that you've got even your own molds, your own lids, and your own so on. You mentioned before that there's nearly 30-ish languages or dialects spoken in India. How do you navigate that in terms of your sales pages, your websites, your copy? You've already mentioned the customer service, but...
Yeah, so I think most Indians prefer English for communication, like at least online. Most Indian websites are in English. So our websites are in English. We are working towards, customized language-based landing pages. But so far, all our pages are English. But challenges which come in India are not with the language, but with the mode of payment. I think we talked about it. Most preferred payment is cash on delivery. Basically, the product is taken through couriers all the way to a customer's household, to his doorstep, and then it's a barter system. You get the product, the customer gets the product, the courier delivery person, executive gets the cash, and there's a sign off. Okay, it was delivered. There's the proof of delivery, and then now the cash passes through the courier companies and their accounting systems, and then you get paid, as a brand. Um, but yes, it's a least path of resistance, right, when it comes to online conversions. So customers are not risking their personal credit card or debit card or bank account information. So as a new brand, I think it did allow us to be able to it opened up the market, right, for us in terms of we're able to, hey, customers are like, listen, if I found out like something's wrong, I just won't take the delivery. Just so it puts um, a kind of trust factor where customers are like, hey, no one can take money out of my credit card, debit card, or bank account because I'm not using that. It's all they do is their name and address and phone number, and that's it. And we do verification calls and things like that, and verify calls, and then go from there. So it's a challenge. It has improved, and obviously mobile payments and mobile wallets have made their entry into India. And once people trust your brand, they will add their debit card or credit card on the file on your website, and they'll purchase it. But until they trust you a couple of times, that you're a well-known brand, it makes a difference. But even then, people prefer cash on delivery a lot, right? You'll be surprised. People buy expensive items like phones, TVs, on cash on delivery. And it's a system that works, right? That's built in terms of security and so on. It's improving though. Like I said, mobile wallets are making a big play in India in the last year or so. And hopefully it becomes the preferred payment method. I think China was like that a decade ago, but if you go to travel in China now, you can probably just survive just fine just with the WeChat app. You can pay the street vendor, you can pay the taxi driver, you can probably pay the hotel using WeChat. WeChat has payments in China, and then you can just pay, scan, and just go. So I think that'll happen in India, but we're excited. India is a challenging market. I think in our category, it's probably growing 70 to 100% every 6 months in terms of growth. So we see our biggest growth opportunity in India. But if we get a lot of requests for our product worldwide, even when we're just selling in the US, amount of people we get from Mexico and Canada, which is just in the North American part, and countries in the Middle East, and countries in potential customers in Europe, and because the product has, at least our winning product has got some cult status, and people, and when your product's great, your own customers start posting it on their social media. Now their friends and family from around the world want the same product, and hey, why are you not selling in UK, for example, right? So that's the goal. Slowly expand into the UK and Canada and Europe by next year, and see where we can go as a brand, and also be in retail. We are in a few hundred stores in India already, in retail stores, and growing exponentially. And we're not in retail stores in the US, but probably by the end of the year or early next year, we'll start making inroads into various retail chains, grocery chains, and Walmarts and Walgreens of the world in the US too, which will be our next step of growth. That's us so far.
Yeah, man. So what would you say is the percentage split between, just focusing on India for a second, the percentage split between sales on Amazon India and through your own website, like cash and delivery?
It's interesting, right? So Amazon's not the only player in India. So there's Amazon, there's Flipkart, there's Snapdeal, there's Nykaa, which is a Ulta beauty alternative, an Indian beauty e-commerce player, but they only sell beauty products. So I would say the split is about 45% on our own website, and then then comes about 25 on Amazon, Flipkart another 20%, Nykaa another 15%, and whatever's remaining, we are making inroads in retail. So that's the split. In the US, it's actually higher on our own website. I would say about 75% on our own website, and 35% on Amazon, Walmart.com, eBay.com, those networks.
And what do you see in terms of like price? So what you can charge in the US for the same product compared to in India? Can you charge at the same price, or is there a bit of an adjustment?
No, it's a bit of an adjustment. Obviously, India is a large market, but very price conscious. So one of the things we realized right away, I think, is the ideal price points for India is around $2.50 to about maybe 7, 8 max in terms of the price point to achieve scale, right? You want to do only a 500 sales a day and be a happy brand, sure. You can sell products for $500 a product, but we we really, I mean, we are not a greedy brand. All we need is great value. The customer needs to be happy with the product first, right? He needs to find value in the product you're providing him. And he needs to feel that for the price I'm paying, I'm getting great service, great quality, great packaging, great, benefits from the product. So we price it in that range. In the US, too, we are actually completely reasonable. We're actually, probably better off, and we have like large bottles in the US too. So on par in terms of price points, we're probably 20% extra because of the shipping costs and so on in the US, which comes with, you'll have to ship the products in containers, and last mile shipping costs in the US are more expensive too, and storage costs are more expensive in the US. So we price it for that in the US, but otherwise, like I said, since the manufacturing is the same, we keep it reasonable.
Nice. And what about
go on. One of the other things is people in the West also prefer large size bottles because, like, they don't, everything is supersized in the US. Like large cars, large mansions, large burgers, large pizzas.
But their heads are the same size, right? Their heads are the same size. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But they do buy larger bottles. We started off with smaller bottles in the US, and our customers kept saying, "I don't want to come to your website again and again to buy bottles. Just give us larger bottles." So there we go. Again, remember, we listened to our customers really well, so we made bigger bottles for the US market, and we'd rather ship it once instead of shipping it 3 times. So it's fine.
Of course. And what about advertising costs? Like, are they fairly comparable in the US or India, or is there a big difference?
No, there's a big difference. Obviously, you have to consider the success percentage of COD in India when you take into advertising. But I would say they're probably 1/4 the cost in terms of CPAs. But they're selling the products for a cheaper price. Your cost of shipping is lower. Your cost of storage is lower. And so all that comes back, right? So you are able to get away with that, and it's COD. So people are willing to give it a try. They're not scared to pull out the credit card, debit card to make the purchase. And of course, we as a brand, we focus on being omni-channel. We don't, not anymore at least, try to consider, hey, I have to make 30% or 50% ROI on this media buying, because no, you can't really control it. We are in stores, we are in Amazon, we are in Flipkart, we are in Walmart.com, we're on eBay. How can you track all that? The discovery phase, like, you can't really, give attribution to one media source, because we are doing a lot of things in terms of bringing our products to customers, putting it in front of customers, right? We do radio ads, we do newspaper ads, we do a lot of other print ads, we do a lot of PR activities. So how can you attribute what's actually convincing the customer? So as long as you have the idea of, a set advertising budget, your monthly advertising budget, and you stick to it. And as long as you're, meeting your metrics, I think you'll be fine.
That's it's quite incredible. And when you said a minute ago the success percentage of COD, did you mean by that some of the times the product they'll attempt delivery and actually the customer will just decline it or won't have the cash, or for some reason it won't go in?
Exactly.
And how do you track that? generally with COD, how do you track like a conversion event?
It happens, with great relationships with courier companies, like the FedExes and so on. India has Blue Dart and a couple of other local players who are able to assist you with that, and they have their own information systems, which you can connect and also have your customer support team monitor those systems. And hey, they actually try multiple times. I think that most cities they try it 3 times delivery, like day 1, day 2, day 3, and if not, they return the product. So there's some, hindrances there too, like, hey, a little kid just orders something online and sends it home now, right? Like parents are not willing to purchase. So you accept that as part of the business cost and, move on from there. I would say the success rate for us is 80%. So 20% is what you consider, which is pretty good, by the way, because we do verification calls, we do email notification, SMS notifications saying, hey, the product's reached here, it'll be delivered to you soon, now and then. And, you need to be ready as a brand. And I think over the years, we've seen that rate get up towards the higher rate simply because people have seen our brand win several awards in India, in the US, and, we are in the PR activities, we are doing a lot of influencer marketing, and so people trust our brand because, hey, okay, this brand, it's not like a one-off brand which might come and go, so I'll try it. I'll take the COD delivery,
And I imagine even more with COD, the packaging's important because they're physically seeing what's being handed over to them. And
True. Most times you're putting them in a brown box inside anyway. So until they get it, open it, so they won't get access to that. But yeah, I agree. The whole messaging and presentation, first impression makes a big difference, right? So yes, we focus on that, right? Like I told you, you go to conventions just for packaging.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Which is pretty interesting to like actually see different hundreds of types of variations of pumps and bottles and labels. What is the latest way to print a label to make it eco-friendly but also more attractive? Things like that. It's a lot goes into it.
Oh, I was gonna say about that. I mean, like certainly the next brand that we're launching.
Like I don't know.
Oh, like that.
The
next brand. So Ashwin's showing up.
Tons of products coming out.
He's got products that he's showing to the camera right now. They look really nice. And you mentioned then eco-friendly, and actually, like our next brand that we're launching, we're going to, from the start, we're pledging plastic-free, right? And in terms of our packaging, and I'm sure it's actually very difficult with a cosmetic that's often in plastic. Like, are you in your evolution? Is that something you're working into your packaging?
Yes. Yes, that we are considering less plastic, less paper in our packaging. It's difficult, right? You're trying to sell hair care products and shampoo and conditioners, which are large, like a liter of shampoo and conditioner. How are you you can't really put it in. But let me tell you, I think there might be light at the end of the tunnel. We might figure something out. There are different alternative ways of packaging that is being considered within the team. And it takes, we do a lot of research before we bring something to the market. So we're actually actively working towards it. But hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months, we might see something interesting coming out of there.
Phenomenal. So at this point in the interview, I'd like to change pace a little bit, and we do this thing called a rapid fire question round. So I ask the questions quickly. You can take as long as you want in your answers. You up for that?
Absolutely, ready.
2 thumbs up?
Yep.
Yeah, right. 2 blurry thumbs. All right, okay. Let's go then. Question number 1. Are there any unusual things you eat or drink regularly, and why?
I'm not sure about unusual things. Let me tell you, I actually don't eat much. I eat once a day. That's it.
Oh, wow.
So that's unusual, right? Yeah, I eat only dinner, and I do coffee and maybe a couple of protein bars and water the rest of the day. So there you go. That's interesting.
And is there Is it a massive dinner?
Yeah.
Is it keto? Is it like what's the
No,
dinner normally consist
no,
of?
it's just a normal dinner, right? So this is the interesting thing. Who came up with the idea of eating 3 times a day? Can you tell me? Like most
Uh,
people lived on 1 or 2 meals a day for thousands of years. I think it was the food industry, the hotel industry, the food industry, which wanted us humans to eat 3 times a day. I mean, my personal opinion, but anyway, let me tell you, like, I haven't lost excess weight. I've only lost fat. I still weigh perfectly fine for my age and my height. Uh, I don't feel like I don't have enough energy throughout the day. It was just the cravings the first couple of weeks when I went on that diet, but your body adjusts. You'll be amazed how strong the human body is in adapting to different scenarios. Like, there are billions of people who probably eat once or twice a week because of other reasons, like because of poverty and so on, and they live happily. So yeah, I
I
eat
say
once
it's
a day.
pretty.
I eat
Yeah.
normally. I eat healthy. It's not like I have 2 steaks at the end of the day or 2 large chickens. No, I just eat normal. Yeah.
Nice. How do you get yourself into a state of flow?
State of flow. I like to have this when I'm trying to get into a state of flow, a notepad, and if I start making a list or a task list or a note, and if I'm generally alone, not being disturbed, I think I can get into a flow. So that's one of the reasons I come in really early to the office. I'm in the office generally by 6:15 a.m. Like to get a lot of my personal planning and things that I need to am I required to do before the team joins in. Then because you always get into meetings, conference calls, so I generally like to get that out of the way. So 6 to 8 a.m. is best time of the day for me. Like
That's
even
your
on weekends, I wake up early, like 5 a.m., 5:30. Yeah.
nice, and that's your flow time. What
Yeah.
habit or opinion do you have that other people tend to disagree with?
Uh, Let me see. Disagree with. Uh, I mean, I could say it. LeBron James, the greatest basketball player ever. We get a lot of arguments with that. Coming on the business side, I would say it'll be a long time before e-commerce is the only way people buy things in general. I think retail has a long runway to go before, people say you don't need to have stores anymore. It'll just be drones delivering things everywhere. So a lot of people tend to disagree, but I see at least in the next 2 decades, people still prefer going to stores. The whole experience of touching, feeling, and going to the mall or going to a store and shopping, it's going to exist.
I like that. If you ran a school but could only teach one non-traditional lesson, what would that be?
I would say patience.
Ah. What would a
Yeah,
lesson like that look? What would the what? How would you teach that? Like, what would the class look like?
I mean, but patience comes with experience, right? Like we as young people were not patient with a lot of things, and as you tend to grow older, uh, patience as a virtue has gone away from people's life, and you have to be patient with anything we do, with family, with work, and it takes time for a seed to be planted, watered, and a tree to grow. So, in everything we do, I feel the world's gotten to a stage where they want instant gratification. So, I would say patience. You would give them examples, I suppose, in the classroom and show them, some of the best things in the world uh, have happened over centuries or decades. Be it companies or people or cultures or countries or civilizations were built. You know, Even though we tend to use the age-old saying that Rome wasn't built in a day, but that's true. Everything we do, we tend to uh, seek instant results, which is not true. I mean, in our own businesses and our brand building, That's one of the things we have noticed, that the more patient you are, the more time you take to do things, the better the results are.
Like that. What book or books had the biggest impact on your life?
Uh, I tend to like a lot of the autobiographies in terms of like different people. I would say Elon Musk's book is great. Uh, Sam Walton's book, the Walmart founder's book, is great, and of course Steve Jobs. Uh, but one of the most interesting books, at least back then when I first read it, that kind of gave me an idea is How Google Works. Uh, it was written by their former president, CEO, on their story and their growth, and how they adapted to the new age, and how they keep their teams and employees engaged, and thinking ahead and being on the cutting edge of technology, which is pretty interesting.
Nice. And it's called How Google Works.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it when we get a recommendation that we haven't heard before on the show. That's great. What does the first 30 to 60 minutes of your day look like, and at what time do you wake up?
Wake up at around 4:20 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, I wake up really early. I told you. I would, because I generally I have to keep an eye, or at least work with my team members in India. If there's something urgent to attend, I will need WhatsApp messages, Skype messages, email. I'll address them, and then I'll get ready and leave to the office. So the first 30 minutes, I would say I only attend the most critical parts of my day, like something critical. But otherwise, I'm generally just preparing mentally for the rest of the day. So the drive was long. The drive was generally long from where I live now to the office, at least right now. So it's LA traffic and so on. So I generally listen to a couple of audiobooks or podcasts, or do that, and generally keep myself active.
Nice. Any advice for your previous boss or bosses in general?
I mean, karma. I haven't had any bosses, but I would say business partners. Karma, man. It has a way catching up. Trust your partners and trust your, colleague that you've entrusted to do a job, and discuss whatever options or problems you have openly. Life is fair to you, so you need to be fair to the people around you.
Where do you go, or what do you do to get inspired?
Inspiration. Interesting. I get inspired by competitiveness, like be it in any field, but I think for us, easiest is to look at, athletes, be it cricketers, and I also get inspiration from a few world leaders, but athletes are the easiest to get inspired from. How much it takes, we just enjoy a game, but the amount of effort and practice people have to put in to be performing in top of the game, top of the world stage, takes inspiration, right? Like if you look at them, and you can see within a single game, things go up and down, and how one single person's effort or focus can change the whole game and inspire an entire nation, right? Like when England won the World Cup, you guys got inspired too. So yeah, I look at the athletes.
Yeah, definitely. Ben Stokes dug deep and found something in himself that most people didn't know existed. I'm sure. Yeah, there was literally several miracles just in that last section of the final, for sure. And so, is LeBron James your favorite athlete?
Yep. Yes. He's not just because he's a great athlete, but I think he's a great human being. Right? He inspires people around him. to achieve greatness, and he actually gives a lot back to his people, his friends and family, his city, and he's one of, and he actively engages with his family and friends, and he inspires good things in this society where people are pulling each other down. He actually uh, investing in school children to be able to get them fully paid scholarships all the way to college, which is great, man. Most governments around the world don't do that, and he is doing that for hundreds of kids. I'm not saying he's the only one, but I just know that he's the one that I follow that does that. So yeah, nice. He's one of my favorite athletes.
I like that. If I gave you $5,000, how would you double it in 24 hours?
I would invest it in my own brand. Yeah, I don't gamble or currently not into stocks either. So I would invest it into something that I trust fully, which is my own brand, and which I know is going up in value incrementally because me and my business partner control every aspect, and we are able to see that $5,000 can become $10,000 within 24 hours. Absolutely. That's nice. Where I'll invest.
Like it. Do you know what? That's actually the first time on a show where we're interviewing successful business founders. That's actually the first time we've had a founder say that they would invest it in their own business. How cool is that? What's the best advice ever given to you?
The best advice given to me was probably ideas are worthless, execution is priceless. Right? Like everyone can throw an idea, but execution is priceless. So, yep. So I would say that is
like it.
My best advice. Yeah.
What silly thing should people do more of?
Silly thing. Laugh at themselves, I guess.
Do you often laugh at yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay to, someone makes a joke at me, I'm okay to laugh at myself, to be open to the idea, not take offense. Yeah.
And so am I to infer from that maybe you feel people, I certainly feel this way, you feel that a lot of people take themselves too seriously or hold too much pride or ego?
Yes. So laugh at yourself a little more.
I like that. Okay. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Fight. I'll probably go with the one horse-sized duck. Yeah.
Why?
I think I'll have a better chance focusing my efforts on tackling one individual than 100.
Yeah.
Is my educated guess. Yeah.
Do you have a strategy in mind for tackling that one?
I would probably go for the legs first, and then the neck probably. Again, guessing, right? So once the duck is on the ground, maybe I can do a better job.
Like that. How would you convince someone to do something good that they didn't want to do?
I think if you weigh the pros and cons and actually talk to people and not, again, be patient with them, I think if you chisel down bit by bit of their idea of why they don't want to do it and actually talk to them and be patient with your approach and not be aggressive, I think most people want to do good in this world, right? Like, not everyone's trying to do bad things, but I think if you're patient, you can convince more people to do a lot more good things. I think that being patient with people, I think, will get you longer.
Like that. This is the last question, Ashwin, and it's an important one. What makes you happiest?
Happiest? I would say being in my parents' house, probably eating my mom's cooking. Yeah, probably.
What's your favourite dish? What's your favourite dish from your mum?
I mean, she has a few, man, but I would say it's an Indian pancake. It's called dosas, that my mom makes that are pretty good.
Nice, nice. Definitely going to
Yeah,
be looking
it's
out that.
vegetarian. It's vegetarian, but yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. Oh, Ashwin, it has been an absolute pleasure today getting to know you, learning about your journey, learning about the intricacies of selling in India. At this point, do you have any asks or requests of the audience?
Uh, no, not at all. If they want to try any of our products, get in touch with me, and we can have some kind of samples, give it out. We truly believe that, as soon as or as long as people try our products, they'll be able to uh, straight away see the difference of love and hard work that we put into making our products world class, and they'll enjoy the products. So I would like to wish everyone, uh, uh, a great week ahead from Wow Skin Science side. And thank you, Brandon, for taking time to, rescheduling a couple of times to make this happen with me. And I truly appreciate it. I hope to meet up with you soon. Unfortunately, I think I can't make that event in Thailand that you guys are going to, but hopefully next time we can make that happen.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Such a humble guy, and yet you're sat on such a successful foundation that's no doubt going to survive generations. And so many people out there have achieved so much less than you and are shouting about it so much more. And so it's an absolute pleasure to meet a genuinely humble guy that has his priorities right, wants to help, wants to give back. Ashwin, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Martin. You take care, bud. Appreciate it.